Hello everybody, this is Nathan and I'm back doing another game review. This time I am doing Mad Max. It finally released. It's one of the long delayed games that finally came out, made by Avalanche Studios and published by Warner Brother Games. Now the one thing I'll have to say about this game is, does it have the feel of playing Mad Max? Yes it does. In fact, this is almost like a prequel to the movie Mad Max Fury Road. There's a lot of character tie-ins and stuff like that as you play through this game. The overall length of the game that I've noticed seems to be hovering right around 40-hour mark, and if you try to get 100% of everything, it can go over 100 hours. Now the only thing with that is it doesn't really warrant that long of a length for the play of the game, because overall even though I want to give the game credit where credit's due, because it is a fun game and it's definitely worth the price, because it is a full price game of $60. Overall though, it gets boring kind of fast, if you ask me, because it takes some aspects of course they rip off the Batman fighting mechanic. They say it's more on the lines of Shadow of Mordor in this one, but it's like a dumbed down Batman, where it's the standard mash the square button, hold the square button down if you want to do a strong attack, and then the triangle button will cause you to counter if a little icon pops up over the enemy's heads, and then you can use like your trigger button to roll out of the way to get behind them. It does have a nice little thing added where you get into Fury mode, your rage mode, and once you beat up enough people, you'll go into super mode where you do a bunch of over the top powerful moves to the enemies, body slam them in the face, break their backs and necks, which is really nice. And overall, though it is nothing more than a rip-off of the Batman's fighting mechanic, it's done in a much more powerful way, to where it does seem to have a lot more weight behind the punches and everything that Max does in the game. But all in all, the best aspect of the game is, of course, the driving, because it's Mad Max. What the fuck are you going to make a Mad Max game and not center upon the driving? Well, they do an excellent job with it. In fact, it kind of reminds me of what Rage was supposed to be when they came out with it, but this actually does it right, because the whole plot behind the game is you're building the magnum opus, a super ultimate car that allows you to get through where you need to go. Without ruining too much, you get to pick a different body style. As you progress, you get the upgrades to the magnum opus, making a stronger vehicle. You get a sniper rifle, which is a really neat transformable fold-up sniper rifle. The one thing I kind of noticed with the sniper rifle, though, even as you can see it here, is it tends to have a lock-on, which, of all things, for a sniper rifle to actually have some sort of a lock-on feature, I think is really kind of fucking stupid. Now, I can understand if you set it on like the options mode, but this game didn't appear to have any sort of options to change that. So, to me it just seemed mighty odd with a sniper rifle to actually have it with a lock on. Once you get close to whatever you're supposed to shoot, it'll kind of stick to it. Which, okay, I'll go along with that. And as you progress through and you use your car as like a human battering ram to destroy other cars, you also get a really cool upgrade early on, which is the grapple hook, which does play off a lot like some of their other games they made. I'm not gonna say it just cause, but you connect stuff with it, which is really cool. You can grab like tires. Once you get upgraded enough with it, you can actually rip doors off, damage the other vehicles. Use it like you see here to actually pull down towers. You can pull snipers out of their nests and kill them. Drivers out of the driver's seat. So all in all, it is a really neat little thing to use the grappling hook. But all in all, with this game, it seems to suffer from something that I just can't place my mind on. Similar to what they did with Batman Arkham Knight, is the focus on Mad Max should be mainly with the vehicle. And as long as you're in your vehicle, the game is fantastic. You're driving around, you're doing your thing, you're killing people, you pick up scraps to improve your vehicle. But once you get out on foot and start exploring the environments on foot, it just kind of loses the magic and the luster, especially with the really bare bones fighting mechanic. It doesn't really seem to have that much depth in it compared to the driving mechanic. Now, certain things I've noticed also as well that seem kind of throws you off out of the overall experience of the game is while it's got fantastic graphics and the world and the level design is just fantastic, it's beautifully desolate, as I would put it. Everything has such great graphic detail, considering at first I was worried, okay, I'm going to be driving through a damn desert. How much variation can you get in a desert? Well, they did a very good job with the variation. The overall size of the game is, fantastically large. The different options you get to do, like your races and everything else to get your character up, is great. You got your standard issue bare bones upgrade system. And it's kind of weird how they do it with Max in this. You meet a guy, he pretty much blows like drugs in your face, which makes you, quote, hallucinate, and that's how you get your upgrade points. As you do certain missions and certain requirements throughout the game, you'll get these points you can use to actually upgrade your character. And as you find scrap and do stuff throughout the level, you'll go up in level enough to where the guy Chumbucket that rides along with you will basically help you upgrade your car as you go along. Now, certain things throw you out of the world, though, while you're really getting engrossed. And one of them has to be is the scrap aspect. While I like it when you're on foot gathering the scrap, it kind of throws you off, like if you smash into a vehicle and blow it up and it drops scrap parts, so you want to get out to actually collect it. Well, that's fine. You get out, but you got to be careful. You might get your ass ran over. But it just seems really weird, like you're going after you blow up a car and some of the scrap pieces that fall are like a muffler or a big ass radiator, and you pick it up and it just like magically goes into the good old classic magic cartoon pocket sort of thing, where Max seems to be able to hold an unlimited amount of this shit, and no matter what you find and pick up, you can just magically carry it in your pocket until you spend it later for upgrades, which is kind of stupid. But from a game aspect, alright, could you imagine if this game had like a weight restriction or something, like, oh, you're only allowed to carry so many before you have to go back. Now, the other thing I noticed which kind of throws it off on here is you have a fast travel system. Now, whenever you're in a large game like this, a fast travel system does serve a pretty good purpose, but in this game I think it takes you out of the experience of being Mad Max and driving along. The other couple things that throw you off is the use of water and food and getting your car fixed. Now, naturally, to get your health meter back up, you have to eat food or drink water, but it doesn't really seem to make that much of a difference. And when you find water, the whole feeling of being in a desolate wasteland, it doesn't really put any fear or stress on you to worry about where the next group of water or food is, because hell, I've had it where it seems like all you have to do is die, because the save system is, save system's pretty damn well done, but if you're having problems and you don't have no water left, all you have to do is die, and when you come back you get your full health and you can get more water. And oddly enough, for a game that requires you to collect gasoline to keep driving, I've had many instances where you pick up a jug of gasoline and a new one will respawn constantly in the same location. And they do this so you can like carry extra ones around, but it really kind of takes you out of the moment as a Mad Max game. And the other biggest fault that I have with this game would have to be that even though you're in a giant open world environment, it seems to want to put you down an invisible corridor. Now, what I mean by that is, like, if you're driving along and you're like, okay, I want to explore the whole world, well, unless you progress far enough into the main storyline, it'll pop up on screen and basically tell you, you better turn around and go back or you'll fail, and it'll like respawn you. So even though it's a big giant open world, until you get to certain parts in the game, it won't really allow you to go out and explore the whole world, which is kind of a disappointment. Now, since the overall size of the world is so large, it's not like it has that, big of an issue. But still, it throws it off when you're not able to go somewhere, and it just tells you, no, bad, no. We want you to go here, not there. And I've also noticed certain levels that are like that too, that require you to stay in your car. And if you get out of your car, it'll do the same thing. It'll be like, oh, you better get back in your damn car, you're going to fail the mission, which is kind of stupid. Now, when you progress through this game, you'll come across certain areas with, like, hot air balloons, and you can get in them and you can use them to rise up into the air, and that way you can use your binoculars to kind of map out the area, similar to, like, other games that you do to open up more parts of the map. That's how you do it. You can actually use your binoculars to lock onto enemies and map them onto your world map, so you'll know, here's a sniper, here's a hideout, and stuff like that, which is pretty cool. Most of the enemies I've noticed do respawn, so if you find, like, an area where you're collecting collectibles, scrap metal, you can basically just keep going back to the area and kill the same guys that will spawn and keep collecting scrap metal from them. Now, certain things that are in the area don't respawn, like there's a certain amount of scrap metal pieces in each area you go, and as you go and collect them, it'll pop up on screen saying you've got 4 out of 5, you've got all 5 out of 5 in this area, so you've completed like 100% of the collections in that area, which is kind of nice. It'll pop up and let you know, though a lot of the levels are designed in a very maze-like way. But all in all, through everything, and massive delays of this game, but for the overall control, playability, fun factor, and price and value, you do get your bang for your buck on this game. For $60, it can take you over 100 hours. The only problem is that if you ain't used to kind of doing the same 3 things over, it gets rather repetitive pretty fucking quickly. And since they take you out of the car on a lot of different times as you progress through the game to try to get back your car, it does seem to throw off some of the things. So all in all, graphics wise, it has a beautiful world, giant open world. The AI of the enemies is pretty damn good. The car mechanic is the best thing, hands down. The fighting mechanic is so-so. It is like a dumbed down Batman. And the voice acting is definitely got an Australian accent going with it. But, it's not that bad. So my final score of this game is a 7.5 out of 10. And the only reason why I'm not giving it a higher rating than 7.5 out of 10 is, even though I had a lot of fun with this game, I did feel like it seems like anymore whenever you see Warner Brothers pop up, then it's like, oh great, it's gonna play like Batman in some way or another. And even though it does have a lot more weight behind the fighting in this game, it is a dumbed down version of the Batman fighting mechanic. And they focus too much on that and not enough on the car and everything. The plot's fairly decent. The overall length of the game is great. But I found myself getting bored with this game rather quickly because it's fundamentally the same thing over and over. And it didn't really hold my interest, and that's why I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. So I want to thank everyone who watches my videos and say thank you for subscribing to my channel.